The coaches in Austin knew 1984 would be much more than just a learning experience. Coach Akers recognized that this year's team was young and for the most part unknown to the media and other members of the Southwest Conference.
That'll be good.
So going into the opening game against Auburn, Coach Akers capitalized on the idea of his team's obscurity by building it into motivation.
See, them, you guys right now are a bunch of no-names, with the exception of a few. I mean, they don't know who you are. They don't know anything about it. Now's your time to let them find out a great deal and have it put on their minds and in their brains indelibly. Put an impression on those people that they won't ever forget.
Under Fred Akers, the Longhorns have never lost an opener, and 1984 was no exception. With the Auburn Tigers bringing their act to Memorial Stadium in hopes of avenging 1983's defeat, Texas knew it had to do more than just let itself be known. The pregame speech by Akers made a strong impression on the Longhorns. As a result, they not only got acquainted with Auburn, but with the practice of winning.
Well, Coach Akers, you know, one thing I've always been impressed since I've been here with him is he never leaves anything unturned as far as getting us prepared for a game. You know, going into a ball game, he has us feeling that, you know, we can go out and, you know, conquer anybody in the world. He has us set up. And it's not a real flamboyant, fiery type of coach, but you know, he just has a lot of confidence in us, and we have a lot of confidence in him and our coaching staff.
Confidence was evident in the season opener as Texas got on the board twice in the first quarter. And when running back Terry Orr punched it in from the 1-yard line, Auburn not only knew who the Longhorns were, but they knew they were in trouble. Jeff Ward added the point after for a 14-point advantage. Although the Tigers closed within one, the best was yet to come for Texas fans.
We got 30 minutes. And I'm telling you now, they will not be as strong as we are in the fourth quarter. Settle down, and let's get out there and get after their butt. Come on! Before the game, that they didn't know who you were. That's your game. They know you now.
1-0, Texas took to the road, and first stop was the Meadowlands in New Jersey to take on Joe Paterno's Nittany Lions before a sellout crowd and a national television audience. Loyal fans weren't about to stay home and await the fate of their Longhorns, as thousands journeyed north in an effort to help Texas in their quest to be number one.
You know why they sold it out? We're here. Last time Penn State was here, they were playing Nebraska, didn't come close to sell it out. They sold it out because Texas is here. That's our crowd.
The Longhorns knew that keeping their crowd meant they had to deliver one thing: college football Texas style. Deliver they did, as the Longhorns had one of their finest outings of the year. While the defense kept Penn State out of the end zone, the offense cashed in 4 times, racking up 402 yards total offense, 95 of which came on this Todd Dodge to William Harris aerial extravaganza. The TD reception was the 3rd longest in the school's history and contributed to a 14-3 advantage, a lead they never relinquished. But as any great football mind will tell you, being good is not enough. You have to be lucky to be number one. So while the Longhorns had the ball bouncing their way in the Meadowlands, Syracuse was upsetting top-ranked Nebraska to set the stage for Texas.
Everybody in both locker rooms knows that score ought to be more than it is. If that 30 minutes is gone, the next 30 are the ones that championships are made out of, and you know that. First 7 or 8 minutes of that third quarter, you set a pace they can't keep up with. Really pour it on. And when the fourth quarter gets here, that one's ours, and you know it.
And the game did belong to Texas from start to finish, all 60 minutes of it. Exactly the way Coach Akers wanted it. 60 minutes all out, like us. And like them or not, by the end of the day, the Longhorns no longer had an identity crisis. The 28-3 victory over Penn State, coupled with Syracuse's surprise win over Nebraska, allowed Texas to be known as the best college football team in the country.
Congratulations once again. You find a way to improve, and you find a way to win the ball game. And I think everybody understands we're an improved football team. And that was the first thing we wanted to attempt today. We beat a fine football team. And we did it the way we chose to do it. With power defense and power offense. We did throw in a big play or two in there. But the fact of the matter is we were hitting today. We came up with some big turnovers, and that was just through aggressiveness. But we took advantage of them, too. Congratulations to you, fellas. There's no question that at this point, people are probably wondering right now about who's number one. We know.
You've been number one.
We know. All we've been doing is waiting for them to recognize it. Now, let me tell you. This is something that has got to make us better. Is that where you wanted to be?
Yeah!
Well, you're there.
No.
You're there, and you better be working now and thinking now you're not number two.
We're number one.
You're number one.
Take care of business. Keep working.
Now, I hope that you share my opinion. It was a great crowd, a great place to play football, a great opponent, and we're proud to have won here. I want to get back and see that orange tower.
Yeah!
Again, God, man, let me speak for the whole state. Can't tell you how proud we are and how much we love and respect you. I mean it. Way to go. Way to go. Hey, oh. Now, wait a minute, man.
Give him 3. Here we go.
Let's give 3 for the Nittany Lions.
Send him out.
You know, let me tell you, we finally can play somebody that we can accomplish one of our goals by playing. But this is the first conference game. The Southwest Conference Championship into that Cotton Bowl. Let's have 3 for the Owls.
A round of applause was all that Texas was going to give Rice as the Longhorns won their Southwest Conference opener 38-13. The win was the 15th straight over conference foes, and that fact put the eyes of Texas on the Longhorns as the team to beat.
Well, I guess it's the situation that we're in. Whenever you're playing for Texas, you're gonna, you have to be up every week because everyone, you're the big man on the block to say, and everyone is out to beat you. We know that the media, even the coaches in the Southwest Conference, want us to lose, and that's something that we know that we have to overcome. Is a lot of adversity because everyone they dislike Texas because we have a winning team.
All-America safety Jerry Gray continued to contribute to that winning tradition by picking off 2 of his 16 career interceptions in Game 3. But the art of winning and the enjoyment of performing were put into perspective that evening when quarterback Todd Dodge fell to injury. The concern over Dodge's injury was proof of the team's camaraderie. Being ranked number 1 and leading 21-7 was no longer the priority for the Longhorns. That respect and loyalty for each other made Texas winners no matter what was on the scoreboard or in the standings. But in the winning tradition of Texas football, the results always stay the same. Only the names and numbers change. So with Dodge sitting out the rest of the game, backup quarterback Danny Akers and the rest of the Longhorns took care of what had to be done. Get drilled for a shootout at the Cotton Bowl with number 2 ranked Oklahoma. For many spectators, it was more than a game. It meant bragging rights for a whole year. For the players, it was why you became one.
Stretch them out good. Exhale. Roll those shoulders a little bit. Feel some of that tension you don't even know you have leaving your body now. Just close your eyes. Imagine a huge sign that says relax. See it as though you just drew it on a huge billboard. Relax. As you take a deep breath, visualize that word as you exhale. Relax. Now concentrate on just the muscles in your feet and toes. Identify them by tightening them or wiggling them just a little as you take a deep breath. And as you exhale, let them relax. Just imagine that your feet are in a tub of hot water and how relaxing and soothing it feels. No tension at all in our feet and toes. Now concentrate on the muscles of your calves. Identify them as you take a deep breath. As you exhale, let them relax. No tension or tightness at all, just like your feet and toes. And now those heavy muscles of your upper leg. Muscles that are going to carry you. Strength muscles, speed muscles. Identify these as you take a deep breath. And as you exhale, let them relax. Just go limp. Let them feel as though you're going to melt and fall out of your pants. Now concentrate on the muscles of your hands and fingers. Identify them by making a fist as you take a deep breath. And as you exhale, let them relax. Just let them go limp. And now those heavy muscles that go from your shoulders up to your neck, down your back. Heavy, strength muscles. Identify them as you take a deep breath. And as you exhale, let them roll. You go in that field representing the best in this country. That means you're a class act. You're great competitors and you do it in a classy way. Commit yourselves to 60 minutes. Not 59 and a half. 60 minutes. So all we have to do is go out and act like us. Nothing else, just us. But we're plenty good at it. Let's jerk those people up off that Cotton Bowl floor and make them play up here. Up here. We can do it. Let's find out if they can.
Playing up there should have been the place to perform, because down on the Cotton Bowl floor, conditions were more suited to the Texas and OU swim teams. But even without the cooperation of Mother Nature, the two best college football teams were set for their long-awaited showdown. The game would eventually end in a 15-15 tie. The draw was a disappointment for many, including the Longhorns. But although no one was able to walk away with a year of bragging rights, Texas walked away still unbeaten. It was the Longhorns who struggled back in the final minutes to force the deadlock. But the showdown actually started in their favor. when quarterback Todd Dodge pulled the trigger on a picturesque 25-yard touchdown pass to Bill Boy Brunt. When place kicker Jeff Ward executed his chores, it seemed as though there would be easy pickings in the Cotton Bowl. The Longhorns would work their way to a 10-0 lead. But as the afternoon wore on, the weather conditions deteriorated, and with them, the Longhorn advantage. Oklahoma's 15 unanswered points in the third quarter and the start of yet another drive forced Texas to call timeout and reflect on what needed to be done for them to remain unbeaten.
Commit yourself 60 minutes. Not 59 and a half. 60 minutes.
Jeff Ward's game-tying field goal with no time remaining capped the Longhorns' first come-from-behind effort of the season. Undoubtedly, it would have been sweeter to have walked away with the victory. But on this day, anything short of a full 60-minute effort would have certainly resulted in a loss. The forecast was somewhat brighter for Texas fans the following week, but the Longhorns knew it would take another 60-minute effort against another intense rival, the Arkansas Razorbacks, and they were right. There was no desire to repeat the previous week's chase to the finish, so the offense got it started early and continued to move the ball through the first three quarters en route to a 24-3 lead. But it was deja vu for the Longhorns as Arkansas scored 15 unanswered points. Again, it was time for some last-minute heroics. In this game, however, it was the defense which answered the call, stopping the Razorbacks on the 4-yard line on the last play of the game. Another 60-minute effort keeps Texas unbeaten.
Steve Ross and Coach Fred Akers discuss 1985 in just a moment, plus player interviews. As we continue, They Know You Now.
And Texas was now in the heart of its
Schedule. The boys from Big D knew how to play some big-time defense. So if the Longhorns were to continue their quest for a conference championship, the offense had to score early and often. Texas did get on the board first when a couple of quick passes led to a Jeff Ward 41-yard field goal. But they weren't scoring often. A quick meeting of the minds on the sidelines provided some new options for some old numbers. The Longhorns found occasional success on offense, but it was the Mustang defense which was asserting itself in the early part of this game. In any Southwest Conference contest, you take what you can get. So before the half ended, Ward added another field goal for a 6-0 lead. The lead was nothing to flip over. However, Texas would be one step closer to a New Year's trip to Dallas if the defense could hold up its end of the deal. Making sure that would happen was the responsibility of Coach David McWilliams. The defensive coordinator for the Longhorns certainly had the ability to map out needed strategy, but it was the players who had to bring it to life. The Longhorn defense really did come alive, holding the Mustangs to only 221 yards total offense. The Texas offense eventually was able to put a scoring drive together, but lost it back on an interception return in the third quarter. So it was still up to the specialty and defensive units to seal the win. The defense met the challenge by stopping SMU 4 times inside the Texas 10. The effort delivered a 13-7 victory. Soon after the celebrating, it was off to Texas Tech. Again, the defense answered, and Jeff Ward delivered more of his last-second heroics for a 13-10 storybook finish. With the eyes of Texas and the nation now on them, the Longhorns' 18-game winning streak in the Southwest Conference came to a halt against Houston. Texas dropped the game 29-15, the result of 9 turnovers, 4 fumbles, and 5 interceptions. The Cougars were the team that would eventually go on and represent the conference in the Cotton Bowl on New Year's Day. And their performance on this day was indicative of champions.
Well, we can't control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we react to it. We react like winners. we react like champions. The fact of the matter is, effort-wise and hitting-wise, intensity-wise, we played well enough today to beat any football team. We just couldn't overcome our own mistakes. Our own mistakes were what beat us. It's your fault, and you never gave up. And if you don't admit defeat, you're not defeated. Now, we've got a lot ahead of us. All this does is make next week more fun, more important, and we're still on the championship chase. And we can react to this thing one of two ways. Like a loser, and feel sorry for ourselves and let self-pity jump up and bite us right in the butt. Or we can react to it like the winners that we are and swallow hard and feel the hurt and let that knot come up in our stomachs, but walk out of here with our head high, and I hope that's what you're made of. I think you are. I'm counting on you being that way. This is going to be our best ball game today. It should be. If you've had great work, you've got great determination, it's going to be our best. Like us. That's the way it ought to be. They've been wanting it. Now they got it. They've been talking about Texas coming to town. Texas is huge. Now, I promise you, men, they feel like they have to play you. We get to play them. We get to play. Make it like Christmas every play. Every play, it's like opening up another present. Can't wait. Everything you've done since you were a little boy. When you first put that little bitty uniform on, it's done for today. For today. Everything else has been practiced. It's going to be beautiful. You're at the top. You're the big dog. Everybody wants to play, and when they start, and they talk themselves into a brave condition until you knock it out of them. Then they start remembering, oh yeah, that's Texas. That's Texas. This is your day. You be determined to do whatever it is you've chosen to do in your private moments as a team. And baby, it's going to happen. It's going to happen for you today. We're ready to roll.
The Longhorns delivered several exciting finishes during the year, but the win in Game 9 against TCU was proof that they could rebound, hold together, whether they went to the Cotton Bowl or not. Plans for a New Year's trip would fade the following week against Baylor, but not for a lack of desire or determination. The Baylor game underscored the fact that everyone is gunning for Texas always. But tough times never last. Tough people do. Even with the loss at Baylor, Texas remained in the hunt for a Cotton Bowl bid. To receive it, the Longhorns had to take it right at Texas A&M in the season finale, and then hope for a combination of losses around the conference. It wasn't going to happen. While the Aggies were taking away any possible chance with a 37-12 win in Austin, the rest of the league would settle on the Houston Cougars as the conference representative. But Texas, a team which at the start of the year nobody knew, finished the regular season at 7-3-1. And although by Texas standards the record was nothing to strike up the band over, it was still strong enough to be recognized for some postseason play.
All right, man, listen up now. When you're asked, you credit A&M. They fought hard enough to win and made the plays, and we didn't. Now, let me ask you this. We have an opportunity now to go to the Freedom Bowl in Anaheim, California. Do you want to go to the Freedom Bowl? Listen to me. Listen to me. I don't want to take a trip. We're going to win.
The first annual Freedom Bowl in Anaheim, California, served as the 31st bowl appearance for the University of Texas. Rain drenched the field before the contest and continued to pour throughout the game.
Let's go, guys. Let's go.
Texas was never able to get on track in the sloppy conditions. Despite being behind, the Longhorns never gave up. They just kept coming until the full 60 minutes were over.
The team that got the big plays in the third quarter was going to win this football game. And they got it. And I'll tell you this, you were out there working at it and trying. You weren't staying together. That's what we asked you to do. To you seniors, I'll tell you now, man, we've been very, very proud to have had you. That's 4 years you fought your hearts out. We want to thank you for it. I mean that. You younger ones, set your jaw on that. Start thinking about how it's going to be for you, the rest of this football team, when we get started in the all-season spring. We're not cheap shot people. You do it the way it's supposed to be done. They write books about it. They teach by watching.
When we come back, we'll get the comments of Coach Akers on the 1985 Texas football team, and we'll also hear from the players. That's next.
We've got some experience at some positions. We've got some inexperience. Guys that are anxious, really anxious to get out there and prove that they're worthwhile and capable of playing with anyone in the country. Hopefully our offense, especially in the offensive line and among our receivers, so their added experience will give some of our defensive players that are anxious to prove themselves a little while to get their feet on the ground.
Coach, you never know who's watching, so we don't want to give away any trade secrets, but it's no secret that you worked on the run-and-shoot offense in the spring. Will we see it in the fall?
Yes, we worked with the run-and-shoot, and we liked it. We think it suits our personnel, and it gives us a way to kind of build in against the possibility of injuries to key personnel. I think it'll make us a more difficult team to defend. How much of it we'll use, I'm not predicting, but we're confident that we can execute it, and we will.
You have to have receivers, obviously, to run that because you have 4 receivers at one time. How do you feel about your receivers?
I think our receivers are better than we've had here in some time. Not only do we have some experience in guys like Russell Hayes and Billboard Bryant, but we have some speed. We've moved Kevin Nelson there, from running back, and Everett Gay has come on, looks great. Monty Daly has speed. We've got a little more to add to our receiving corps than just William Harris. And, of course, William is having a great practice period, and we're expecting a great deal out of him.
I guess the offensive line is one area last year where you had kids with talent who were spending an awful lot of time on the bench because of injuries. Now, most of them are healthy, aren't they?
Yes, and one of our strengths this year is our offensive line. That's a great strength to have. The experience gained by players who were planning on being backup players a year ago was tremendous for our football team. Our confidence level among our offensive linemen is an all-time high, and we're expecting great things from them.
Now, when fall practice started, you had 9 quarterbacks out there. Obviously, you can't train that many, but it also means you've got some depth there.
We do have. I'm pleased with the incoming freshman class. Those guys are good quality football players, and they're going to learn and learn and learn and learn without getting the playing experience this first year. But Dodge and Kelly, Stafford, and Akers represent quite a bit of experience. They now know what it's like. But those young ones are really, really a handful in pushing them.
Well, that's always fun to see. Running back, you welcome back Ronnie Robinson at fullback, and it's a Ronnie Robinson that looks like he's a little bit lighter this year, maybe a little bit quicker.
Well, the thing about Ronnie is he's healthy. Ronnie looks like he did year before last when he was 100%. And a year ago, he had a terrible, terrible time of it with his foot that required surgery during the season. Now, he just never got in shape. But Ronnie's back, and he's a great competitor, and he looks good. Charles Hunter at tailback is a freshman that we redshirted. He's from Odessa. And Charles is a tough competitor himself. Anthony Barley is looking better than any time since he's been here. And Norman Nunn has that quickness that we recruited him for. He's healthy. We've got a couple of young ones off that freshman team that are going to figure into it. And I'd say our running back position is in the best shape we've had in some time.
Well, when we talk about defense, let's start with the defensive line. You've got 4 defensive ends. That gives you a lot of depth. But the defensive tackle, you've really got a lot of new faces there, don't you?
Our defensive ends do represent our strength defensively, with 5 football players, starting with James McKinney and Blake Bronner. We have 5 players there that are experienced. They're good. Kip Cooper and Thomas Aldridge got great experience a year ago. Al Pavelic is back. Our defensive tackles are new. They're the ones I was talking about. The ones that are anxious to prove that they can play with anyone. The problem is no one's heard of them, but they're young and eager. And I really feel that they're going to come on and prove to people that we are not without defensive tackles.
Ty Allard heads up a linebacking crew. Ty has all-American potential. As a group, they look like they might be a little bit smaller than Texas has had in the recent past, but quicker.
That's a good description, Steve, on both parts. Ty Allard certainly is deserving of All-America mention, and he's among the top ones in the country, and we're counting on him for a lot of leadership among some young players. The rest of our linebackers are basically inexperienced, and they are a little smaller, but as you said, we're faster and quicker.
Texas has a great reputation for defensive backfields, playing the man-to-man, which most colleges do not. You have 3 returning starters, kids whose names will be known, and you must feel comfortable with them back there.
Now, our defensive secondary is a lot like our offensive line. We played a lot of young guys a year ago. They went through the mistake-making period, and it was awfully painful for them. Gave up a lot of big plays, but they learned from it. And out of all of that has come some confidence. They know what they're doing. We don't have a superstar like Jerry Gray or a Mossy Keys with all the preseason hype. But we do have more of them that know what they're doing, and I really feel we're farther along right now than we were last year with our secondary. Of course, it's great to have Richard Peavy back in there, too. He adds some experience.
The kicking game has to be a strength for this team. Jeff Ward and John Telchik, I don't think you can say anything except they're the best 1-2 combination in the country.
Well, I think they represent our biggest strength, our most complete strength. Could well be our kicking game. With Telchik as a punter and Jeff Ward as a kicker, and Terry Steelhammer snapping the ball, and with some more speed in our return game, we should be among the top ones in the country in that department.
That's the comments of Coach Akers on the 1985 football team. What about the players? What do they have to say? We'll hear from Drew Spryer and those players when we come back after this message.
Follow the leader. Woods Honda.
Most year, but
I don't think it's going to be like that this year. I think that, people just better watch out.
Do you feel like this team has something to prove to people this year anyway?
I think so. At the end of last year left a bad taste in everybody's mouth, and we sure don't want to end up like that again. And we do. We've got some things to prove to people that we're not that kind of football team.
No, we're just trying not to look at those things. When we get ranked up there at the top of the national polls and the conference polls, we try not to, to pay too much attention to that either, because we still got to go about our business every day, and we know what we can do, and that's really all that counts.
I think we lost a lot of that last year at the end of the season, and we've worked through the spring and the early this fall to regain some of that respect within the team, and we've done a good job, and the players are ready.
I don't know if you were to talk with the guys around here, that's not what we're thinking. We've got some things to prove to not just the people here in Austin, but all over the nation.
Well, everyone has an opinion, so we're just going to have to go out every week and prove them wrong.
In terms of your physical being right now, where are you compared to where you have been in the past? They say you pretty much right now are as in good a shape as you've been.
I feel pretty good, but the only negative thing I can just put on myself is that my ball handling is not up to par. My timing is off with the quarterbacks, but that'll come along with work, and that's the only problem I've got.
What do you expect out of Edwin in this season?
The only thing I expect out of Edwin is for him to do the best he can do to help the team. That's basically it.
You want to be there at the beginning and at the end and be able to go the distance?
Yeah. I'm planning on being there for Missouri and hopefully the Cotton Bowl.
What about the no respect this team has gotten this year in terms of rankings and where they're supposed to finish in the conference and that kind of thing? How is the team reacting to that?
We're just going out and working. That's just like an incentive, because we feel like we got something to prove to ourselves and to other people. And, we're going to, year in, year out, we're in there with the thick of everything, and we're going to be there again this year.
I guess it's suffice to say that Edwin Simmons is back.
Yeah. He's black.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
You and Telchik have come a long way, and I know you're both looking forward to even a better year this year if that could happen.
Well, I appreciate that. I'll slip you a 5 for that. No, John and I are confident. We've got a couple good years under our belt, and he's a senior, and I like to go out with a big year along with him because I know he's the best there is.
Now, every time you miss one extra point, although you've only missed one, and a field goal, you feel like you haven't done your job. You're like almost a perfectionist. Would that be true to call you one of them?
To say the least. Yeah, at times it's almost hindered me because I'm such a perfectionist. I tend to get down on myself. But in my opinion, there's no other way to look at playing anything, especially a place kicker. It's the kind of job where you're only getting a few shots a game, and you've got to take the most of them. And those points add up.
What do you want to accomplish this year? You want to hit a record number of field goals? You want to just be consistent? Do you have certain things in mind?
Well, I've got a list of goals that you wouldn't believe, but first and foremost, to make every extra point. I think those are a lot more important than people give them credit. Secondly, to break the school record in the number of field goals, which is 17. And after that, just achieve my 85% on my percentage-wise, and I'll call it a successful year.
You want to tackle anybody out there ever?
Well, I'd prefer not to, but if it has to be, I'll do it. I'll sacrifice.
Jeff, one magazine, Playboy, has you guys 18th, and in it they say that the Longhorns probably have a better kicking game than some of the pro teams do.
Well, that's a magazine with class, isn't it? That's nice that somebody finally did pick us up there. Those predictions are good for nothing but debates, and they're fun to play with, but they're meaningless once you get out there.
Coach, now's the time to play maybe a little word association game. We'll ask you in 25 words or less. Let's go down the schedule, starting with Missouri in 2 weeks here in Austin.
Well, Missouri has a new coach, and he has experience with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're known for being very, very physically tough, and they always have talented athletes.
And after that, it's out to the West Coast to Stanford.
Now, all the skill positions are going to be represented well in that ball game. Great passing team who a year ago, because of an injury to their quarterback, developed a sound running game and defense. So we don't really know what to expect as their strength.
Rice Southwest Conference opener.
Rice will be a much improved football team. They've got great speed among their wide receivers. They're wide open. They take a lot of risks and chances, and they're a dangerous football team.
Then it's a team Oklahoma, isn't it?
Oklahoma, a traditional battle, a traditional war, one that we look forward to. It's always very, very physical, very, very close, and we're anxious to get in there and get it on with them every year.
Up to the Ozarks to play Arkansas.
A tough conference ball game. They're among the top 20 football teams in the country, and we know what to expect from them from the last 25 years of head-on competition with them.
Still on the road, SMU.
That game has become one of the real tough and usually a great defensive ball game. One of the toughest in the country, and it's been highlighted as that for the last 4 or 5 years. They have a tremendous amount of talent. They're out of the conference picture because of probation, but it'll be a real grudge battle.
Finally home, Texas Tech.
Our first home game in a while, going down that list. Texas Tech will be improved. They had one of the top defensive teams in the country. They expect to have more production at quarterback, so it'll be a big conference game at that point in our season.
Back on the road, Houston.
Houston always plays tough. They're always skilled. They were the conference champion of a year ago. Until someone uproots them, we have to treat them that way.
Then it's back home, and it will be TCU.
TCU has really come around in the last couple of years, and they're a dangerous football team with probably as much speed as anyone in the entire country.
Baylor at home.
Baylor has become one of the top games in this part of the country, our game with them, and we don't expect any let-up from them at all.
Thanksgiving Day, Thanksgiving night, Texas A&M.
One of the truly traditional games in the country. Texas A&M, too, is among the top 20 in the country. They're very talented, and it's going to require our best ball game.
There's always a 12th game for the University of Texas. That's a bowl game, and you expect it to be in Dallas, don't you?
We certainly plan to be there. You know, people don't give us much credit for being able to get there at this time of the year, but, you know, back somewhere deep in our minds, we always have that picture.
That's a look at the 1985 Texas Longhorns. They open up the season in 2 weeks against Missouri. So for Coach Fred Akers, this is Steve Ross saying see you in Memorial Stadium September 21st.